Here is a hotel recommendation for the spring, summer and autumn months. Namely, the Viva Blue Spa in Mallorca, located in Alcúdia, or at least situated very close to the town of Alcúdia. And I'd like to briefly introduce this hotel to you. We were there last week in October, and actually you wouldn't really need a video now, because the hotel doesn't reopen until I think early March or late February. Just check for yourselves. Still, it's a really cool tip for Mallorca if you're very sports oriented. First, I'll show you where the hotel is located, and you'll first see it from the air. This is the approach to Mallorca, and you can immediately see the hotel there as well. Of course, you can't actually see the hotel, but you can see the Bay of Alcúdia. That's where you land right away on Mallorca. From Mallorca airport, it takes about 45 minutes. It can also take up to an hour to get there, depending on whether you rent a car or simply take the travel agency transfer. Let yourself be driven. Now let's take a closer look at the location here. We have lots of hotels here, and now I have to look around. Up here is Alcúdia Port, here is Alcúdia Enlarge, and then we have the whole area. The hotel is about here, so maybe just for size comparison, I can say pretty precisely because I once walked from this Viva Blue to the bar in Alcúdia Port, and the whole thing took a good hour, if not an hour and a half, and then it takes a bit longer to get to Alcúdia itself, to the hotel. When we arrive, let's just arrive right here. Google Maps shows a beautiful large green garden in the area where you can just go and relax. And here is the entrance area, which also impresses with its brightness. You walk in there and immediately get that real summer feeling, and it's really beautiful. It's very spaciously designed, and you are truly given a warm welcome, which is really nice. And now let's take a quick look at our room, the one we had. Notably, all rooms have balconies and terraces, and some even have rooftop terraces. I think that's with a special program, but you can also book that there. And there are two directions you can face, one towards the pool area and one towards the nature park on the roof, backside. I'm the kind of person who prefers the view of the pool area, but the view of the nature park is also very beautiful. And there's another advantage. In the summer, events are held there in the evenings as well. And if you have a view towards the pool, there's a bit more action because, let me show you quickly, here is the pool area and here are the 3 or 4 buildings of this hotel. And then here we have the event arena where events take place in the summer. In winter or autumn, people spend a lot of time inside here, but in summer they're out there. So that means if your room faces this direction, you have both the disadvantage and the advantage, since there are people who actually like this, and I do too, that you get to experience a bit of the party and the events in the evening. Of course, they also have specific times for this, so it's fine. What's really special, even as you can see here on this satellite image, is that you also have privacy here, pools. And as I said, up here you also have these rooftop terraces, but as I mentioned, I don't think that's really necessary. You can do that here. There's also a special pool here that's only for Selection Club members. And here there's another pool that's meant for swimming, so for athletes. And that brings us right to the topic. Sports are a big deal at this hotel. There's a dedicated bike garage for visiting cyclists. There's also a fitness room and it's quite large. You can also use the sauna. There's a nice indoor pool as well, so you're not just dependent on being outside. I think that's actually pretty cool for a location like this. So you have an indoor pool, you have a sauna, and you have a whirlpool. You can see all of this now in the pictures. And from my point of view, that's a really nice all-around package. And maybe just briefly for our kids. There are also plenty of entertainment options for the kids. There's an event room as well. There are also arcade machines, there's billiards, and outside there's a really beautiful water area for the kids. And if you have kids, say between the ages of 5 and 15, there's also a small soccer field that you can make really good use of. And it's within walking distance, so you can just drop your child off there. And then they can play soccer. On top of that, there's also a bit of an entertainment program where you can decide what you want to participate in and what you don't. For example, yoga. There's really something to do for the whole day. And if you go to the sea, I want to show you that as well. It's not far away. You just go out here, crossover, and right there is the sea. So none of this is far away at all. But cycling is definitely really cool here in Mallorca. Back there is the mountain monastery. I think it's pronounced Lug or Lug. I'm not exactly sure about that. It's not far from here. Even by bike, as a day trip, it's a bit sporty. But it's doable. And if you've rented a car, you can get there quickly too. It's all no problem at all. And here is this absolutely magnificent bay that you can take a leisurely walk or a scenic drive along it in either direction. So that's maybe something to add. What else did I write down? There's also a bird watching station. That's in the direction of the nature park. You can go up to the second floor there, look out, and even bring a drink with you. And speaking of drinks, that's a good topic. Depending on what you book there, you can book all-inclusive there. We had booked half board plus. That means we had breakfast. And in the evening at the hotel restaurant, drinks were all included. It was a solid and impressive selection with several wines available, red, white, and even rosé. Beer and water, of course, and cola and soft drinks for the kids. Or what else was there? And the buffet? I'll show you now. It was really, really great and really good. Honestly, if you do this for a whole week, maybe, just maybe, it could get to be a bit much sometimes since you end up knowing everything already. There are different themed buffets every day. That means it's not the same every day. Instead, there's always some specialty that's different. There are a few basic things that are always the same. I can honestly say on the first day we were totally amazed. We said, wow. And then it faded a little bit, but that's simply because, not that the food was bad, the food was great, but if you do it for a week, it does become quite a lot. A lot. Breakfast leaves nothing to be desired. Everything is perfect and really great. I can only recommend it at this point. The Viva Blue Spa in Alcúdia. What else is there to say? I've written down a few more things. Maybe just very briefly at the end. Of course, you can also go to Alcúdia. There is regular bus service there. But taxis aren't that expensive either. And now, just to finish, I'll show you a few beautiful pictures of Alcúdia. But not from Alcúdia port, rather from Alcúdia, the capital, so the actual town there. The old town there. And there's a beautiful city wall. You can just take a look at it now. With that, I'll leave it for today, and I'll say a little hotel tip for Mallorca. And I really, really liked it, even though I'm not typically a package tourist. Normally, as you can clearly see on our travel channels, we always try to discover everything quite a bit more individually. I thought it was a really lovely week there in Alcúdia, and I had a lot of fun. Those were the pictures from Alcúdia. Just very briefly at the end, for transparency's sake. We paid for the hotel ourselves, we didn't receive anything for the trip. If we ever do it differently, we'll let you know. But in this case, we want to make it clear that this is not advertising. It's simply a personal recommendation from us.